So at about 11 a.m. local time in Israel, the president arrived. All right, he got a good night's sleep on Air Force One. I've been on the plane in a giant bed, and it's just like being in a luxury apartment. Okay, you got everything you need, every food you could want, every service you could want. You get in your jammies, put your head down, you fall asleep. They wake you up for breakfast. It's not rigorous travel. All right, so he lands about 11, and about 40 minutes later, he meets with Netanyahu, the leader of Israel. Then after that, he meets with the war cabinet, and then after that, he meets with some of the families who've had people murdered by Hamas. And here's what he said. Go.
Hamas committed atrocities that recall the worst ravages of ISIS, unleashing pure, unadulterated evil upon the world. There's no rationalizing it, no excusing it, period. The brutality we saw would have cut deep anywhere in the world, but it cuts deeper here in Israel. October 7th, which was a sacred Jewish holiday, became the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. It has brought to the surface painful memories and scars left by millennia of anti-Semitism and the genocide of the Jewish people. The world watched then, it knew, and the world did nothing. We will not stand by and do nothing again. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever.
Okay, that's standard issue speech, nothing wrong with it. The world stood by. That's not true. The world took care of the Third Reich at great expense to human life. There were people who didn't want to get into World War II. There were people who looked away from the Jewish atrocities. That's true. But, you know, Mr. Biden, he just reads what's put in front of him there. And it wasn't bad. I mean, he's got to show the world, and this is very important, that the United States and all its power is aligned with Israel. It has to do that. Because if Israel's on its own, then the attacks are going to be much more ferocious toward Israel. And we'll get into that in a moment. So after meeting with the Israeli officials, Biden, as you know, was supposed to go to Jordan to meet with the head of the Palestinian Authority, which doesn't really exist, and the head of Egypt, which does exist and could help out, and the Jordanian people. Well, that was called off because of the hospital bombing. So this broke yesterday, and immediately people in America came out and said Israel blew up a hospital. I was on a radio today with Sean Hannity. Hannity did good research on this and ran down all the AP, CBS News. They all initially reported Israel blew up the hospital. And Hannity had a list. Okay, that's true. They did. Add any evidence, nothing. Taken on the word of Hamas. Hamas said. Of course Hamas is going to say that. Now it looks like, and U.S. intelligence has come out, for whatever that is worth, and said it was a misfired rocket from the terrorists that blew up the hospital. So the Islamic fanatics killed the poor people in the hospital, not Israel. Israel produced tapes and footage, drone footage, and ordnance, which that's, to me, the big one. So the ordnance that hit the hospital didn't have any Israeli markings on it. I wasn't there. I don't know 100%, but the heavy weight of evidence is that Israel did not fire the rocket into that hospital. That's the prevailing evidence that has been produced. Hamas hasn't produced anything other than saying the Jews did it. But people believe what they want to believe. You know that. That is a tenet of this program. It doesn't matter to the Jew haters, the Israel haters, that the terrorists hit the hospital. They want to believe Israel did. Add to that in places like Indonesia, Iran, Muslim countries around the world, there's no free press. The people hear what the government wants them to hear. And the government wants them to hear that the Jews blew up the hospital. Right? It's not like there's a debate or, the no-spin news. I mean, we go into those countries, but you have to have a private server to get us. So at this point, and again, I'm falling back on U.S. intelligence because I wrote the book Killing the Killers, and U.S. intel pretty damn good. They said, no, it was a misfire from the terrorists that caused the hospital debacle and all those dead people. So now Biden comes right back. And that makes sense, okay? Because why do you want to hang around there? There's going to be more violence. And I'm not speculating here. It's a short-term play, all right? There's going to be more violence because the people want to destroy Israel. They see an opening now, all right? And they see demonstrations. They attack the American embassies. They try to do that in Beirut, all of that. So short-term is going to be more violence. That's what always happens here. Long-term, I don't know. I do know this, that the ridiculous news media in America, and it is ridiculous, you guys know that. That's why you're watching and listening to me. Oh, Iran says it's going to do X, Y. Iran can't do jack. All right, number one, you look at the map, Iran can't get any ground troops close to the situation. Number two, if Iran did anything, Israel would just take out its oil fields and its ports. Israeli Air Force is going to bomb the hell out of it. Iran not going to stop it. And that'll put Iran, they couldn't feed their people. Iran not going to do anything. I mean, they'll do what they always do. They'll spend money and train the terrorists to do these cowardly attacks on civilians. That's what Iran does. That's what they do. Now, there's still an argument between CNN and Wall Street Journal. Another article in the Journal today says, hey, Hamas was right behind that Gaza attack. Right behind. And Iran did it. They're the ones that set it up. And CNN goes, no. Iran didn't have anything to do with it. So I told you I was going to get to the bottom of it. It's 80% now, from my investigation, that Iran was behind the Hamas attack. I'm not going to say it definitively until I have 100%, but I'll get it. And then CNN, CNN's not going to say anything. They're not going to say anything. They don't care if they make mistakes or misreport. They don't. Why would they care? They're not in business to tell you the truth. But anyway, back to Iran. Iran, they can huff and puff like the big bad wolf all day long. They can't do anything overtly with troops or anything like that. But no, not in the news media. Oh, Iran, they're going to go. And then everybody gets panicked. Okay, stock market goes down. Oh, no. I'm not diminishing this. There will be violence. And it'll be the usual suspects attacking American interests and Israeli issues. And that's a memo.